up, we can just like go for it. Oh, we're live, baby.
Yeah.
I'm going live now, but don't worry, no one will be on until I post the link. It takes a couple of minutes.
Cool.
There we go. All right. We can just wait a second.
This is like low and weird.
Okay. I'm just putting it in my bio. Do you want me to send it in the group in the chat?
Oh, what, a specific link?
Yeah, like you
You
can just put the Men of the Hill
one.
You can put the Men of the Hill normal YouTube one in, or you can just put that one in. It will lead direct to it. It doesn't really matter.
Did I put the right one in? Yes, there's my face as I click on it.
Spooky.
Hi, me.
The good thing with these as well, like even if lots of people don't tune in, you get good like little sound bites that you can use for other stuff. So it's like a win-win kind of situation.
Like cut down on thinking on things. Cut down on thinking on content.
yeah, exactly. I'm so bad at that. Like I go in and out of it so much.
Yeah, but when you're working full time, like I was before, I was talking to Glen about this the other day, like before I decided to I quit my job to go at this, because I got sick of it. Like, how do you do it all? The people that continue with the side thing, like hats off to them. I couldn't really do it. I was like, I can't do both.
Yeah. And I guess like for you, you'd figured out exactly like how you could make it a job. Whereas I feel like I'm in the situation where I'm like, I don't quite know what.
Oh, I took a big leap. I took a massive leap. I didn't have it all figured out. Nuh-uh.
Really?
Like intuition. I was like, I trust myself. I feel like my light's really awful, isn't it? But
mine's bad as well.
I just took a big risk, and I was like, if I take this risk, if I jump, then I will show up fully for myself. Otherwise, I'll just like tiptoe around the edge, doing what I've been doing for a few months. I've like, if I quit, then I have got to go for it.
Yeah.
So I just took a big risk, but my anxiety was sky high for a month before I quit. I was so anxious.
I can't even imagine.
But it worked out. It's all good. I'm so happy.
Amazing. I'm going to ask you loads about this. Honestly,
I'm going to get you quitting your job and doing it.
And my notice in tonight.
Empowerment.
Oh, should we? Oh, sorry.
Jake might end up joining, but
Fab.
I'm sure he'll have plenty to say when he comes on. But he doesn't know what the conversation's about either, so that'll be quite funny, won't it?
Just going to hop in.
Yeah.
Fine.
Never mind. Right, yeah, we've got a few people watching. I think people are 4 now, so people are slowly turning up.
Oh.
I put it on my story and whatnot. Yeah.
Amazing. Shall we kick off?
Yeah, let's go with it.
Cool. Well, thanks. I think it's been a couple of weeks since we did our last one. Me and Glen have been a bit lazy / preoccupied with life. So we're back trying to do these more regularly, and we're joined by lovely Kady today. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Kady, because I'm not going to do you any justice. And I'm really interested to hear about you, what you do, your journey to what you do, all of it.
Cool. Well, I am an empowerment coach. It still feels a bit weird to even say that. Like, I had this big thing when I wanted to move into coaching, like finding the word coach cringy, finding it all cringy. And like what we were just saying, I just had this calling, like, I need to help people. And I wouldn't admit, for about a year, that I wanted to move into coaching because I just hated the sound of it. And I had this thing of like, how can someone tell you how to live your life? What, they got it all sussed out, all these limiting beliefs. And then I realized like no one's got it sussed out, and I can just be honest and be open about like where I'm at all times in my journey, and share the things that I've overcome and share the things that I'm still overcoming. And so I ended up turning into, I do holistic coaching. So it's a little bit different. It's like not just mindset stuff, it's mind, body, soul. So it's bringing like the body into your healing. So it's like your emotions and things are stored in the body. So when you're sort of like trying to trying to release them. It's involving your body in the practices. It's not mindset, it's everything. And then the soul part is like the spiritual part, which has been a big part of my journey, which is like trusting the universe and like there's a power greater than us. And it's it helps me with so many things, especially mental health wise. So now I help women. Well, I help women. I don't have any men clients, but I will move into that, but mainly women. Just breaking through their ineffective beliefs that they create about themselves that control them, breaking through shame as well. Obviously, we're going to talk about it today. And then, obviously, we're talking about coping mechanisms as well today. And I think they're all linked. Well, to me, they're all linked because our coping mechanisms are things that we hold so much shame about. And that's kind of how I started on my journey. Like my coping mechanisms, I thought they were the problem. I held so much shame around them and then I spiraled. So, you know, coming through all of that is what my why is, why I do what I'm doing now. Like finding my voice, breaking through that shame is so liberating, it's so freeing. So I love to help people do the same. It's amazing.
That's like so inspiring and amazing that you do that for work. Like, do you do you just love waking up for work in the morning?
I was just saying to you, like I say it and I'm like, I can't believe I do this. Like I can't believe I made this my life. Like it's not, I quit my job in August. So and I was like I said to you, I was like sort of dipping my toe in around the edge, all this stuff, but I wasn't going fully at it. And then I was like, you know what, I believe that like my intuition is like, this is my calling. I feel like this is my sole purpose. I feel like the reason I went through all my pain and all my struggles with my mental health was for this. And then it all makes sense. So it's I just trusted, like, and I love it. I can't imagine having like a job for it is a job, but like it doesn't feel like it.
That's the dream. Like going to work and it doesn't feel like work. But as you kind of touched on, we're going to be chatting about kind of coping mechanisms today and sort of the coping mechanisms that we know are good for us and we do, but the ones also that we know aren't great, but we do as a kind of quick short-term fix. Glen, I'm going to pick on you, but I don't know if you want to kick off with kind of, because I know we've spoken about before, like you've got proper into the gym and stuff like that, but how that benefits you, but also the not so good stuff, the short-term fixes as well.
Well, I mean, as I always say, I mean, the whole exercise thing for me is like it's just been a game changer, really. Like how I didn't do exercise or football or anything for however many years, I just have no idea. Like what was I doing? Because now it's like I can easily fall off the bandwagon and not do it. You know what I mean? But now I wake up and I think if I don't do it, I'm just going to be moody and have a shit day. I know I am. And I'm kind of reliant on it to feel happy, really. Like, I'm not saying that I wake up and I'm miserable every day. I do I've said it before, I do get up and I'm like, I have a battle with my own head to whether or not I want to be my head tells me I want to be in a miserable mood all day. And I try and, I want to be, I fight to make myself in a good mood. Do you know what I mean? But the whole exercise thing just stop. Like, I stop having that battle now because I do that and then I just feel good after. But in terms of my, if I don't go to the gym and I let my head get the better of me, then it's sit on the sofa and eat shit, like basically, like, it is just eating's a big thing. Like I'm not like, I'm not overweight or I'm not, look at the James Argent thing. I mean, he has a serious issue with depression or whatever he's going through, and it's eating that is clearly his coping mechanism. And I feel like that is my thing. I wouldn't sit there and order silly amounts of food and get but it's literally just sit on the sofa and order that crap food and mellow in my own bad mood, basically. That and I think, suppressing my feelings and not talking about it.
Yeah.
When I'm in a good mood, I can talk about what I might have been pissed off about or feeling down about prior to that. But if I let myself get into that place, then that's it. I shut off and I won't talk about it, kind of thing. And I think that's my biggest thing, really. And like, if it gets that bad, smoking, obviously alcohol, yeah, like, you know, when someone says I'm pissed off, I need a fag or something like that, like that's a typical thing for me. Like, just do that, drink, and like I'll just fall into, I want to just smash it all weekend or whatever, which I haven't done for ages and age, literally since before like this time last year, really. Like, obviously I've gone out and had a drink, smoked or whatever, but like in a place where I'd go out every weekend, smoking every weekend, like, and daily at work and whatnot, like that can be a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I think I get the food thing totally. Like, I've never luckily had an issue with food, but I do have that thing of, it's like a very all or nothing mindset. Like, if I wake up in the morning and I feel really down about myself and I'd plan to exercise or do something and then I don't do it, you think, oh, well, you ruined it now, so go the complete opposite way.
Might as well just carry on.
Right off the day. Kady, I don't know about you, coping mechanisms, good, bad, what you do.
Let's start bad always.
Okay, start bad.
What do I still do? Because I feel like, obviously moving into this work, the whole point was like breaking free from the really bad ones, but we're all human and we all still have them. So I was saying, even being a coach, I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm fully healed. I still have them. And I think like my worst, or my biggest problem used to be like, I had an eating disorder, but I was in denial over it. And it was, how can it be? It's like, do you have awareness on what your coping mechanisms even are? Like, that's the thing. For you to be able to say, oh, I've got a coping mechanism and it is this, then you've got awareness. But a lot of people are like asleep, like, to what they are. But food. So food was a massive one for me for years and years and years. And it started off, I would like proper bingey, and the shame again, like, I think we'll talk shame later, but the shame with that, because as like a young girl, it's not but now it's a bit more spoken about, but that weren't spoken about then. And then I had bulimia, and then like it was big, and I didn't know at the time it was a coping mechanism. All I knew was, or I thought I knew, there's something wrong with me. And because I was so ashamed of it, I just pushed it down. I was kind of in denial about it. I did get like therapy in the end, but that was the biggest wake up call ever, was like, oh, the food and me isn't the problem. It's a coping mechanism, meaning something else is the problem. This is just the manifestation. So that's obviously like doing the work I do now. It's like, I still will go, like, I'm healed from my eating disorder. I would never make myself sick. I love food. I'd never restrict or anything. But if my mental health, if I suffer a little blip in my mental health, the first thing I want to do is go and snack. Like, just to another person it might be normal, but coming from where I've come from, to me, I'm like, whoa, slippery slope, like, what's going on? So I literally stick post-it notes on the food. What are you avoiding? Because any coping like, you can eat the biscuit, Kady, but what are you avoiding first of all? Because any coping mechanism is avoiding pain, like emotions. I don't want to feel an emotion. I'm going to eat this biscuit, so I stick it, and then once I answer the question, I can eat the biscuit.
That's
quite good.
That is really
little bit nutty, but quite good.
I am a bit nutty.
Yeah, well, you always have been, so it's all right, isn't it?
I think that's so interesting what you're saying about, like, it's almost like a reflex, because I completely understand that. Like, I spoke about it on my page and stuff, but I have OCD. I always say I had it, but it's like, you know, you have it, you just cope with it now. But I totally get that. Like, you think you're fine and healed and everything, but then when something stressful happens, with me, it's like intrusive thoughts and stuff start sort of stocking up, And it's having the power at that point to say, no, stop. Like, you know what this is, you know that you're about to go on a spiral if you don't sort of nip it in the bud now. So I can completely relate to that sort of reflex thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing, once again, about like breaking free from shame. If like owning that, like saying like, do you know what, this does still pop up for me, and that's okay, it's going to help you. But if you deny it and like, oh my god, I thought I'd healed this and I've got these thoughts popping up again, you start shaming yourself, and then it gets worse. It's just to say like sometimes this happens, and actually by saying that, you've got a better chance at nipping it in the bud, really, haven't you?
I'm quite interested for us to talk about shame, because I think because Kady, I don't know you from Beckenham, but you're from Beckenham, right?
I went to school in Beckenham, and then I was in Beckenham every weekend for about 5 years probably. So it's
quite interesting, like thinking about shame in the context again of like where we're from, circles you grew up in, all of that. And obviously all three of us clearly aren't ashamed of who we are anymore, because we're telling the internet like you know, about how mad we are. Exactly. But like how did you reach a point where you like that, did you have like a light bulb moment where it was like, I am who I am, or was it like slow kind of process?
I think there's been a few of those moments that like stand out, like realizations, like breakthroughs. I always call them like breakthroughs, like powerful moments that you're like, whoa, what? Like, and they can just be something little. But I think like the first time I had CBT, so for my eating disorder, and like that was great and everything, but I still had that shame piece there. Like it's different. That's just your mental health. And then I went on a retreat. I like had a bad breakup a few years ago, and I went on this retreat, and I'd never done anything like that before, and was new to like this sort of like inner work, more mind, body, soul stuff. And I sat around this table on the first day, and they basically was all like, share your story. And I'd never even thought about my story. And my story was like nuts, like my dad passing, my mum not well, secret eating disorder, so many things. And I didn't know where to start. And then it got to me, and I had to say, and all of a sudden I realized, I've got to I got to try and articulate all my stuff in my head. And it was so powerful. The second I let it out, like, I cried my eyes out. I just got it. I don't even know these girls. And everyone was doing the same. And that was a life-changing moment. From that second, I was like, oh, everything's all right once you share it and you lose the shame, because everyone meets you with compassion. They don't meet you judging you how you think they're going to. So that was the first moment where I was just like, oh, my life's going to be so much different from now on.
It's quite interesting you saying like people meet you with compassion, because I definitely think as I'm getting older, when I meet new people, they meet you with compassion. But I think again, like in the context of sort of where we're from and all of that, like it's kind of different. Like I worry with this stuff that I'm like, new people will be really lovely, but people like that I've known in the past will be like, you're an absolute nutter. I don't know if you both feel like that, or if you care.
I think I've moved away, like I don't live there, and I think I would care more if I still lived there, like, and had to like starting my Instagram, the things that I post about are quite controversial and very vulnerable, but because I'm not then I'm not seeing those people, it is easier. Like it's very easy for me to go, I wouldn't care, but actually if I then have to see them, I'd just still do it. I believe that, but I agree it would be more difficult.
I mean, I'm still here, so and I'm like protected in lockdown of kind of like,
you're scared to come out
my Instagram.
But what at the end of but you say that, but what if you walk past you walk down Beckenham High Street tomorrow, what are they gonna say? They're gonna, oh, that's that girl that does the mental health stuff. They forget about it.
They think it's amazing because no one wants to talk.
Either they're going to come up to you and go, what you're doing is good, or they're just going to go, that's the girl that does the mental health stuff, and then they forgot about you 2 minutes later. No offense, but that's
no,
it,
it's true. It's true.
Right. if people are saying, oh, like Glen, Jessie, Kady are fucking off their head, or they've
then
got
they're right.
issues, then they're right. Like, if you didn't know that about me before, then do you even know who I am? Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd think Glen's a fruitcake or a weirdo anyway. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, what does it matter? But yeah, I get it though. I get, like, it's obviously it's easy for me to say that I'm on the other side of the world. I'm not going to see anyone. So, my mates think I'm, well, I know they're supportive, but they're like, Glen's off his nut, mate. Like, but they also say fair play. He can do it, because I know none of them ain't got a bottle to do it. Do you know what I mean? In the nicest possible way, they haven't.
And then it takes
on.
some.
Yeah, it does. It does at the end of the day, and that's it, isn't it? But like the shame thing, it's so tough knowing what it's been, what the area we've lived in, and then the society we've been in. It's tough because at some point you would have been looked at in a certain way because of it.
Definitely.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah.
It could be anything. Do you know what I mean? But I think we're also grown up. People have grown up now. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all nearly 30 years of age.
Yeah.
And if you're still got a young, immature mindset, then there's something wrong with you, really, than us. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, that's my thought on it. Like,
yeah. But I still feel like, Glen, like when we talk, I feel like you're maybe slightly ahead of me in terms of feeling like 100%, not 100% comfortable, but like I think I still have a little bit of a nervousness around. I mean, I've come a long way of expressing who I am, but I think with like my specific like story, I think like if a girl's like, yeah, like I have anxiety, or I get nervous, or I get nervous in social situations, it's like that's, people really empathize. But as soon as you're like, oh, it's OCD and it's a bit weird, it's then like it becomes a different story. Like, I still think there's a stigma attached to it. There's probably more in my head than other people.
Yeah,
but it's
but
just
I say, like, but don't it's like the whole doing this in the first place thing. Once you've done it, we carry on talking about it, right?
Yeah.
The further you go with it, like, you just become more confident and careless, because you're doing it for one reason. It's not just about us, is it? It's about helping other people. It's about helping the people that are listening. It's about the people that follow your page. And, like, from some of the stuff that I've said and already on here, and I'm I say I'm embarrassed about, but really I don't care. Like, I really don't care that much. Do you know what I mean? Like, all right, other people might be embarrassed for me, but I don't care. And also, like, how many times I've probably embarrassed myself stupidly anyway, that I've just like that, those things. I do still get anxiety about what I've done the next day and stuff, like, of course, but it's not more about the stupid thing I would have done. It might have been just a little silly thing that I might have said that's not even out of character. It might be, like, if you think you've upset someone by saying something small, or that's the sort of thing that I would get anxious about, not because I've embarrassed someone, or like by shouting, or that just nothing. Like, I wouldn't care about that. But I do think, like, there's nothing to really be embarrassed about or worried about, because like I say, half of the people that would judge you or say anything that you would probably think about and not want people to say, you're never going to bump into these people or care about. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my friend said to me last night, I won't name her, she might be watching. She was like, I really like admire you. She's like, because you do all these things. She's like, you go on your bike, like, you are a loser, but you own it. And I was like, I think that's nice. I'll take it as nice.
It is. I've got this thing, and it's own it or it owns you, whatever it may be. Like, if you own something, it can't own you. You take your power back. The second that you're like, oh, I've got this thing, I've got a webbed toe. Here's something for fucking, I put it on Instagram.
Oh, you love this song.
I loved my webbed toe. But do you know what? When I was at school, I was like, oh my God, I've got this webbed toe. I can't do PE. And now I love my webbed toe. But I was like, I put my webbed toe on Instagram because I was like, do you know what? It's the same thing. I could have had surgery on it. I could have done all these things, but no, own it or it owns you. Like the second, whatever that might be, if they're saying about your face, if it's your anxiety, if you make it a problem, it owns you. You don't want no one to know it about you. You're overcome with shame. It holds power over you. If you just own the thing, we've all got our things, like just own it, then what can anyone do or say? It's not going to touch you because you've owned it. Like,
I do like that. And I think it's kind of similar to like when you take the piss out of yourself before someone else does, and then it's not that funny when they do.
I do that all a lot. Exactly. It's the whole one eye thing, mate. I take the piss out of myself more than my mates do anymore. Like, not that like I'm not that it bothers me one bit, but like, you know, when it first happened, I'd be a bit like, oh, but I make more jokes than they do about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not one bit ashamed or of being, you know, Mike Kapowski or whoever you want to call me. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no shame whatsoever. But you know, you can make fun, like you can make fun of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like in the boys group, one of the boys might say something like I don't know, like they're pissed off about something, and I'm like, you should join one. You seem upset, mate. You need to join one of the Men of the Hill calls. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're like talking about, because that's what it is at the end. Like, I accept that I have some issues. Do you know what I mean? Some sort of issues, and I accept it, and I've told the world about it. But no one wants to. You know, when you feel like sometimes no one wants to hear all of it all the time. People get like, they're bored of hearing you talk about this. I'm sure the boys are probably like, God, Men of the Hill every day, like. But you've got to make some light of it, because, you know, I know that they're probably like, fucking hell, but just make light of it, because otherwise I'm gonna sit there thinking, are the boys getting annoyed with it, or like, is it boring now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but do you think, I don't know if you agree, Kady, like, I feel like there's not to completely generalize, but sort of different attitudes between sort of men and women and how they perceive those sort of things. Because you saying like, oh yeah, they might be getting sick of Men of the Hill, like who cares? Whereas I would sit and like ruminate over that thought, like, oh my God, like my friends become annoying. My friends, like, I don't know. I just feel like I can't brush it off as easily, but
like overthinking, like allow it. I think it comes down to like stories. Like, what stories do you tell yourself about like what's going on? Because it's basically you're just making the stuff up, aren't you? Or like catastrophizing, or like jump into whatever you want to jump to conclusions. Again, it comes down to like mindset stuff. Like, are you able to like recognize your thinking patterns, like things like that, and tell yourself a different story? Like, like, I don't feel. One thing I was thinking though, with this joke thing, I always talk about this quite a lot, because I'm all for making a joke about myself, like I 100% make a joke, but I hate when joke is a deflection or something that causes someone pain.
Yeah,
totally.
So I put this thing on Instagram ages ago, actually, I'm lying, but it was a post from my like personal page from like 20, I don't know what year, but I'd like, oh, when will I learn my drinking, lost a shoe, done all this stuff, post about it on Instagram. It weren't funny. I was struggling so badly with alcohol, trying to change my relationship with alcohol, and because I kept letting myself down in my eyes and fucking up and slipping up and going out and getting hammered, I then turned it into a joke. And all the time you're doing that, you call yourself a joke or treat yourself like a joke, and a joke you will be. And I couldn't break away from it. So it's like owning something, joking about it to a degree, but like never just joking about the stuff that causes you pain, which we all do at times.
I tell you, like I said, I don't care about the I thing, but like, you know what, when I'm lagging or if I've like gone hard in the gym or football or anything, right? my eye goes like wonky as fuck, like literally looking for you, like boss-eyed or whatever they call it, cross-eyed, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, I get so insecure about it, and I'll make a joke like, oh yeah, I bet I'm looking for you at the moment, or something like that. Every time I do it, because I mean, my manager at work, I played football with him like probably a year ago or something, and it was in the summer, so it was like silly hot. I come off, not just my bad eye, both eyes were like all twisted up. And he was like, "You all right, mate?" I was like, "I don't feel too good." He went, "Yeah, your eyes are going like that." And I was like, "Oh, bit like that." And then I was like worried about it then. Do you know what I mean? So I do, like, I lie if I say that I'm not, I don't care at all. But when it gets to the point where I know that, you know, wonky eye, if I'm lagging in the night, then I'm like, oh God, I better put some sunnies on indoors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, yeah, that is probably the only time that I do feel insecure about it. But I definitely do, and then I do make a joke to get them, deflect it and get there before they do.
Yeah.
Because then I'll be even worse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a defense mechanism, isn't it? Like you almost want to stick up for yourself to just preempt anything that someone's going to say.
It's kind of like carry on being confident Glen, rather than being the guy that then gets insecure about it and then wants to like go, oh, is my eye wonky? Is it? Do I look? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them ones. So yeah. Like, I guess that's.
I think so, like vulnerability. So basically saying, I've got this insecurity, like, oh, I'm fine about my eye most of the time, but sometimes it does that. And when it does that, I get proper insecure. That is vulnerability. And I think vulnerability is like more powerful, like it's more confident. It takes more confidence to be that way than to, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I look at things now, because everyone's got their insecurities, everyone. And like I struggle to speak about it as well. But every time I do, I'm like, oh, that's actually better. That's easier than me like making a joke. For boys it might be different though, you know, because it is a little bit different, isn't it? Like the way you all interact, and that if you turn around and you're like, oh, actually, and want to be all vulnerable, how is that going to be received by the guys? Like, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, like it's a bit of a downer, isn't it? Like, oh, like insecure about my eye, like. You know what I mean? Can you imagine me saying that to your brother or my cousin? Be like, shut up, mate. Like,
things are changing though. I think things are changing a lot.
Yeah,
they definitely are. They definitely are. But yeah, like I definitely wouldn't turn around and go, oh, like I'm a bit insecure about this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't have to say it like that.
You just put on the voice.
Oh dear.
I think there's probably like expectation though. Like you probably expect that someone's going to react that way, but actually they might not at all. They might just, and then when you say it, it's like, oh, fair enough. Well, I'm never going to take the piss again because I know it upsets you, or I know whatever.
Yeah. But at the same time, no one's going to turn around and go, "Well, Glenn, like, just let you know your eye's wonky, mate." I mean, if they do, fair enough. It's not like I can sort it out, is it? Like, unless I put an eye patch on. But yeah, like what? Yeah, I don't know, but I do think that it is tough with the whole shame thing. But you say you have got to own it. You have just got to own it.
The only way, like, speak about, everyone hold shame about something, and it's not always going to be the same thing, or something you've done, like something about you, something you've done. So many women will like slide in my DMs, like telling me this big thing. Like if I put a vulnerable post up, they'll come back and it might not be about the thing I've shared about. It might be like, oh, you sharing that made me share this. And it's like this relief. It's like, oh, I've got it out. Shame to me is no one can know this about me. I don't want anyone knowing.
Yeah. But what about it, for instance, like, okay, coming back to the whole Beckenham thing and school and all that, the brutality, we've spoke about this before, of like people taking the piss out of you at school, and if you didn't just shrug it off, you know, then you look weak and all that sort of stuff. What about if you've been like bantered for saying since school, I don't know, whatever it is. So people say I have a big nose or whatever, right? not that I'm not bothered about it now, but someone might take that into after, like, till now or whatever, and still think about that and be worried about that, or you know, it could be anything like big head or I don't know, like, yeah. But some people are going to be shameful of that.
Yeah.
Although
So common.
they probably wouldn't have thought about it unless someone else mugged them off about it at school or whenever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how does someone deal with that? Like, and as you said about the joke thing, like making a joke and like, you know, whatever. But if you're going to own it, you kind of need to, and talk about it, you kind of need to make light of it as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
how else are you going to overcome that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I think there's a fine line, isn't there, between making a joke of it and yourself when you've got deep pain around it, and accepting it, coming to a space of acceptance with it, and then being able to actually mean that joke as a joke.
Yeah, that is so true. I think there's so much to be said about, like, as soon as you accept the person that you are and accept you for you, all of this stuff becomes a lot easier. Like, you letting go of things, and kind of, because I always used to, like, in my group of friends, I'm like, it's like a running thing, I am like the loser of the group, like I always have been. I don't even know what that means, but I am. But I used to always, before I would say something, like, trying to think what, like if I was like trying mindfulness or something like that, I would always say, like, I know I'm a loser, but I know I'm a loser, but like I try and like preempt, and I'm a loser, but I'm getting a bike, and and then it was just like,
to make it
up.
okay. Yeah, like, I'm just gonna
like,
own it. Like, I'm just gonna own it. And then people like, yeah, it's cool. And then your friends say that. Like, I feel the same though. But when I'm like, mindfulness is a bit more of a thing now. But when I first started doing this work and being a bit more spiritual now, all my friends just like, what? Everyone was going out partying still every weekend. I've done this 360, come back from this retreat, doing all these weird rituals, all this stuff. My friends have got used to it now, and more people are like interested in, like, oh, but my family are like, what are you doing? They don't know my work. Like, my brothers don't know what I do. They do not know. They must have seen my Instagram because I had it on but we don't talk about it. It's like not spoken about. Yeah, not because I hold shame, but they feel awkward. They don't know, like, what is Kady doing? It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's like, when it feels good to you, like, why I was able to break away from it all was like, wow, do you know what? I care so much more about me and what feels good for me than what people, especially who Sarah used to go to school with. Oh, she's like seen you started this Instagram, she's seen it. Who cares? I'm not going to live my life in fear because of someone that isn't even in my life. But it's hard. It is hard, isn't it? Like, at the beginning, and then once you do it a little bit, you're like, oh, this feels good. I'm doing this thing because I love it and I'm owning it. And then people at first think you're weird, and then watch, people follow, or they ask you questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I think from starting my page, I've definitely seen that, like, people that you think, oh, they really have it together, or you think they're the ones that might think you're weird, actually might say, I'm going through something similar. Or
and they'll look at your, like, I looked all through your page, and this like, people will say, like, oh my god, like, especially if you're there from Beckenham, we don't speak about this. All of a sudden, that you're speaking about it, or they'll be like, whoa, like, you're speaking your truth and it's powerful. Like,
that's what we were saying before, wouldn't we? Like, I'm telling you right now, there ain't one person that ain't either dealt with what we're talking about, or felt what we've talked about previously. There ain't. I'm telling you, everyone in our age group that's been around that area is fucked. They are. I'm telling you.
We're all.
I was saying
they
to
just
someone earlier,
open their eyes to it or
someone
not?
said, someone said to me, "Oh, yes, what you're doing is good." Blah blah. I went, but it's got to be done, isn't it? Because we're all fucked. And he was like, "Yeah, we are." I said that, but there's no one that you can say that ain't. There's no one that ain't insecure, because at some point they have been. I'm telling you right now, there's no way. If you went to Langley, Hayes, Kelsey, Edenham, whatever fucking school it was, you're insecure, and that's it. Sorry, but it's the truth. And if you tell me otherwise, let's have a conversation and come on here and talk about it. Because it's right, isn't it? There's no one that can tell me otherwise. I'm sorry, there's no way, because it's true. And that's what, you know, it gets to me when you start saying like people might say this or people might be like judging you. Fuck them, because they're lying to themselves. The people that are judging are lying to themselves. Do you know why I know? Because I've done it. I've done it for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I know, because I've judged people for saying, oh yeah, I've got mental health issues. I was like, pussy. I've said it, but the whole time I'm covering up what I'm feeling.
Because you can't feel comfortable, you can't face up to stuff. It's like the same though, is if you think, what I think is really interesting, if you are convinced that someone else or other people think this thing about you, it is because you think it about you. So if you're like, they're gonna judge me for this, who is they? What, all of society, all of them are gonna judge you for this. No, what about, well, do you accept yourself for that fully? Oh, maybe not fully. And it's like, well, yeah, otherwise, if you were owning it again and accepting whatever this thing may be, mental health issues, saying about your body, your eating habits, your drinking, like, you have got the problem with it. Otherwise, you wouldn't care. Like, that is what I found. Once you release judgment from self, if people are judging you, like Glen says, you're like, well, those people are the wounded people because they care. Like,
what do they care that I'm telling my story on Instagram? Why do you care? Why are you upset?
Why would you be? It's triggering people. It triggers people. Like, people. If people don't like it or they've got something to say, it's because it's triggering their pain that they don't want to address, type thing.
Yeah, so it's the same thing about the Raskas thing with like the good-looking fella that comes in, with a nice shirt and the nice shoes, right? Why don't you like him? Because he's got a nice pair of shoes on. So you've got an issue with someone that can admit that they are suffering and are saying, you know, I'm dealing with this. Doesn't mean that I'm crying for help and I need someone's help or I'm attention seeking. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm doing it for other people. I've accepted. We've accepted the issues we've got.
Yeah.
And that again, it's the whole stupid mindset and society that we've come up in, that there's something wrong with you if you do something that's different. And this isn't even different. It's not different, it's normal.
Yeah. I think you have to, because on the flip side of it, like, you have to really look inside yourself when you judge other people as well. And I've really started doing that recently and realizing, like, people, and not even people I know, like, say, like, people on Instagram or something that I'm jealous of, you really have to look inside yourself and wonder, why am I feeling the need to, like, I always say that if someone's triggering me, like, what is this, like, showing me about that I need to heal? Like, what's rising to be healed here? Like, why is this triggering me? It's so interesting. But that takes a lot of you being honest with yourself, and sometimes
and biscuits and biscuits.
I loves a biscuit,
or whatever it was in your fridge, or whatever it was.
Biscuits. I love a biscuit, but I just have to check. You know, do I really want the biscuit, or am I avoiding emotional pain?
Yeah, mate, I have about 10 biscuits a day, I think, at the moment. Not because I know, it's just because I want a biscuit, basically. Not
a coping mechanism, okay? Not a coping mechanism. All good, yeah.
No, just there's nothing better than coffee and a biscuit, is there? Do you know what I mean?
I still eat the biscuits. Don't get me wrong, I still eat the biscuits. But when my mental health sips, I just have to check. Like, you sure you want that biscuit, or do you need to, like, deal with some, like, emotions that you're avoiding?
I love that. I feel like, because I'm obsessive though, my whole house is going to be filled with post-it notes tomorrow.
Mine is, but they're inspirational as well.
This, Jessie,
there's one on my computer. This one's like, I am energized. I believe in myself. Just on my computer.
But it's good to have. It's good to have all these reminders, definitely. Right. I've noticed the time.
Yeah.
I'm getting a kebab tonight.
Yeah, I am as well. Nice. I'm getting a kebab.
Are you?
Oh. Yeah, I saw my boyfriend walk in with it about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, nice.
The things I do for home kebab, man. Oh.
Chicken sheesh. Yeah,
that's what I've got.
Lovely. Jealous.
But thanks so much for talking to us, Kady. I feel like I've taken loads from you. I feel like quite pumped.
I've enjoyed this. This is a good one, wasn't it? This is a very good one.
It was.
Fun. I'll come back.
I'll
Amazing.
send you. Obviously it's on the live, so you can get it off there. I don't know if you can download it, but I'll send you it to your emails or whatever if you want the whole thing, and then you can edit it or whatever. But I'll probably do some editing on it tomorrow or something and post it as well. Some parts of it we'll chat about it or whatever though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We had quite a few people on. I think there's 8 on now. So
Well, thanks
yeah,
everyone.
Thanks for watching, gang. 10k run on the 24th of April.
Oh yes, I'm getting all my family involved.
Yeah, to anyone that doesn't know what it's all about, but we're basically getting, obviously there's restriction. When we first organised it, there's restrictions in place. You can only meet one person and stuff. So we were going to call it like 10k with a mate. But obviously now restrictions are due to open up and stuff. So we're just getting people to get out with their friends or family or whatever and just walk 10k. We're going to have t-shirts to sell on Amazon and stuff. And yeah, take pictures, selfies, and then a few local businesses will be giving discounts, coffee deals, and all sorts of stuff around the area. So if you roll up to, I'll post them on the Instagram.
I was buzzing about Poached.
Places, yeah,
amazing.
and then you can roll up and get discount and coffees and whatnot on all these different local businesses, which will obviously help them as well. Get some people in, and yeah, so get involved, because the more people that do it, the more people we can reach out to, the more people that see the t-shirts and the posts and whatnot, and the more people we can potentially help.
Amazing. Can't wait.
Yeah, come on, girls.
Come on. All right, it was great to catch up, and I'm sure I'll chat to you tonight.
yeah, we'll chat to you, and then I'll sort the out and stuff. Yeah.
Perfect.
See you
Cheers,
later,
Pete.
guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Catch up with you soon.